What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Happy Monday. I know I'm happy because of this beautiful bunch of graded slabs that I have sitting here in front of me that I just received today from SGC. I've hinted towards these cards that I made a 8-card submission to SGC concerning 8 Paul Skenes True Rookies, and I couldn't be happier with the grades that I received. And this is going to be an amazing reveal. I am so pleased with the results. But before I begin, if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. Smash that like button, comment in the comment section below. Hit the bell to receive notifications. And if you want to help to support the channel financially, I do have an eBay store called the Carolina Collector 001, where I'm selling graded slabs, various other items, loose sports cards. It really goes far to support me, to support the channel, to support the hobby, which I love, and many other various things. So to save some time, I've used some BGS plastic sleeves to protect these guys and took off the rubber bands. I got the box right here off camera from SGC. Again, like I said, it just arrived today. And I just have to get into a little bit of a tirade here, a little bit of a rant. So forgive me if I sit on my soapbox here for a little bit. Everybody that's bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining about the grading companies, especially PSA with their new with the new changes in their grading standards, where it comes to 55-45 centering, you have to realize I'm an LLC. I'm a private business owner, a small business owner. I don't make enough money to justify hiring more people. Now, I don't know what the business model is of PSA, and of course, in my opinion, when you grade cards, you're doing it for collectability, and you're doing it for preservation. I've never heard anybody say that on camera when I watch these jackasses who are bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining. I didn't get a PSA 10. It's a scam. Well, it's not always PSA's fault. In a lot of cases, it's your own fault because you're not taking the time to show these cards any kind of love. Before I submit my cards, I really take the time to scrutinize these cards and see as close as humanly possible to what I believe I can get perfect 10s out of. In some cases, I know a card is going to be a 9 or a 9.5 because I just want the card to be protected for longevity reasons and for my own personal collection. You know, but the grading systems with all of these companies seems to be really clamping down on certain things, and you're just going to have to get used to it. Many of you are not true card collectors. You are in it simply to make money, and you couldn't give a damn about the preservation of these cards. There are 3 cards in here that are going to be from my personal collection, maybe 2. 2 of them my buddy wants because he wanted to buy into the box breaks that I did with the mega boxes here on the channel. So those 2 are going to be put off to the side, and the rest of them I might keep or I might sell. I'm not sure yet. But you need to lower your expectations. You can't go into this expecting anything and then go on YouTube and then start bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining, and then the rest of us have to deal with your insufferable nonsense. Take the time to love the cards first. I'm sorry if you don't like that. This is my channel, my cards, my opinion. With that being said, take care of the card first. Worry about the grade next. So there are 2 grades in here. One of them I was kind of like, okay, it is what it is. The second one I was expecting because of the nature of the card. You'll see that in a little bit. So, time to get off my soapbox. Let's take a look at the first one. Again, these are all Paul Skenes True Rookies from 2024 Update and 2024 Chrome. Paul Skenes Paper Rookie Perfect 10. I've sold several raw cards of this over at my eBay store, and I believe I still have a couple more of these raw, but I decided to choose the best of all of them. I'm not saying that those cards are bad or that there are issues with them. I'm simply saying that I decided to pick what I thought were the most aesthetically pleasing, best centered, and had no issues or any kind of flaking or anything like that. And when it comes to the centering of these particular cards, and this will be relevant for 2 of these, this P with the black circle will be relevant in this video because that will determine your centering all around. And that's why this landed a perfect 10. Here we have a Chrome Base Rookie, Paul Skenes, perfect 10. Again, same thing. Now, SGC is one of those companies that will allow some manufacturing defects in there, depending if it takes away or adds to the aesthetic of the card, most likely they'll let it slide. PSA, I think, does that in certain cases too. But SGC are more lenient with their grading that way. That's why I love grading with them. I'm not paid by them. I'm not shilling for them. I'm just saying with the turnaround time, this took about roughly 2.5 weeks from the time I shipped it to the time it arrived today. I couldn't be happier. I just feel, in my opinion, that they are more consistent. So I believe this is an example of one of those cards that came up a little short. But still, it's a 9.5. This is an X-Fractor that I pulled here on the channel. And you can clearly see the centering issues from left to right. It's actually favoring this side of the card right here. And arguably, it's actually favoring the top. And you can tell because when you flip the card over, you really have to look carefully, especially here where the statistics are. You can see that it's just maybe the evermost so slightest more tight on this way. And then you look at the P, you can tell it's favoring down just a little bit. And for comparison, you look at this guy right here, and if you size them up just right, you can see where the centering is just slightly off. Now, of course, the camera is going to play tricks on you because of the nature of how I have the camera set up. But on this side of the camera, I mean, to me, to my eyes, that will be the guiding factor, is that Pittsburgh Pirates logo right there. So we move on to the rainbow foil from Paper Update. This came out a perfect 10. Sometimes these foil cards could also be a little temperamental to grade, but again, I was able to land a 10. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have bothered to have submitted this. I might have sold it raw, but I'm quite happy that I did submit this, and it came out a 10. And again, pay attention to this. That'll be relevant with one of the bigger cards that I submitted in this order. Now, I already know that this is a perfect 10. So again, you look at the P in the black circle and you look at the words on the bottom. You look at, there's just certain key aspects to this card that will give away whether or not this will land a 10. And of course, we have an aqua perfect 10. Can't go wrong. Take the time to show some love for these cards before you submit them. Look at them, scrutinize them. Just because you think they're perfect 10s doesn't mean they're going to come back perfect 10s. You got to take the expectation out of it. And the ones that are doing the biggest bitching, again, I have to say this and nail this point home, are the ones that really don't care about the hobby. They care about filling up their wallets. And they probably don't even have collections of cards. They're simply there to flip. It's pathetic and ridiculous. I believe this is the yellow border, and it is. Topps Paul Skenes color match yellow border, perfect 10. This is from Update Paper. Gorgeous card all around. And this is one of those cards that's going to be part of my PC. I love the fact that it's got the white label. It matches his uniform, even though it could be argued it's like a slight off-white color, but it still goes well with the black and yellow. I mean, it's like the perfect Pittsburgh Pirate get-up right here. And there's just so much eye appeal with this. I love it. It's definitely a PC card for me. I believe this is, I just want to take a quick look at it. All right, yeah, it is. So this one right here is also a 10. This is the gold foil from the same set. Came out a perfect 10. Again, these could be very temperamental, and they do have a lot of eye appeal to them. The centering is not too bad on this thing. Again, you flip it over, you look on the back, that's going to be your tell right there if the centering on the back is off. But this guy, arguably, it may be kissing that side just a little too far. But the overall aesthetic when it comes to the shadow that's on this side of the card kind of tricks your eye into thinking it's more centered than what it is. But SGC, basically graded this a 10. You're not going to get any complaints out of me. But this is one of those cases where this could have been a 9.5, but they were very generous because I guess the overall aesthetic of the card is just, unmatched. Until we get to this card. Now, this was another one that I was kind of like a little, I don't want to say let down, but I kind of expected it because, again, I had cards to compare this to. So if you look at the P, it's actually favoring down just a little bit. And it could also be argued that it could be favoring this part of the card as well. And this is the yellow foil, which came out to be a 9.5, which is still a great grade for a card of this caliber. I've seen SGC and PSA 10s of these go for like $400 to $500. even as a 9.5, I would have to roughly estimate this to be about 4 to 450 at least if I were to put a value on it, if I wanted to invest. But, you know, a 9.5, I'm not going to complain about. It's a PC card. I wanted to color match it and put it in a tuxedo, and it just looks great with his uniform. It looks amazing. These three right here will most likely be part of my PC. Now, full disclosure, I did buy a loose yellow foil recently to see if I can actually snag a perfect 10 from SGC. Now, I've already seen, like I just said, I've seen PSA 10s of these go for like 500 and sometimes more in certain cases, because I think there's only 142 in the population of these. Not as far as submissions are concerned, but these are non-numbered parallels, the three of these. And I believe they only produced 142 of these. And I happen to own two of them now. I did own one of them, and I scrutinized the two of them, and I ended up reselling the one that I paid for. I sold it for the same price that I paid for to a customer of mine. It might have been the one in Staten Island where I had issues where the card got stuck in a post office in Brooklyn. I almost want to say that's the buyer or the customer that I sold that card to. So, and I scrutinized the two of them, and I chose this one to submit, and I sold that card for what I paid for it. So it all worked out. And I decided to buy a third loose one that I will most likely submit again to SGC. And we'll see where it goes. If I can land a 10 of this, I'll sell this guy off. We'll see what happens. And when it comes to these guys here, the two Chrome cards, I'm going to hold on to my buddy to see what he says, because he wanted to buy into those mega box breaks that I did with these. And the rest of these I might list sooner than later so I can roll this right back into the hobby. So keep an eye out at my eBay store for these. I still have the Paul Skenes out of 50. I actually listed it for auction instead of a buy it now, because I got a feeling it's going to sit there until we get to see him in action. So I decided to list it for auction. Go check it out. And I have a ton of other cards up there that are up for auction as well. And there are a ton of buy it nows. There's a little something for everybody. But I definitely am going to put these up sooner than later. I'm going to comp these and find out where they're at. I'll see what my buddy says about these two right here, whether he wants to pick them up off me or not. And then these three right here for my PC. I might part with this one. We'll see how it goes. But these two guaranteed are part of my PC. This one's the toss-up. But for right now, all three are for my PC. And if I land a perfect 10, once that other card comes back, I'll do an update video and we'll take it from there. So, again, I'm sorry to rant like the way I did in this video. It just frustrates me when I hear guys bitching, complaining, moaning, and whining that they didn't get perfect 10s with their cards. You really, especially these days, the grading companies are really tightening up their standards. And, I mean, you really have to sit there with your cards and give these a second and third look. Use an LED light. Use an LED flashlight. Get a light table. You know, do whatever it takes. You know, I already knew that this card was not going to be a perfect 10 because I already knew going into this compared to the rest of the cards that this right here and this line for the stats were going to be the key factors into determining whether or not this would be a perfect 10. And this is the rarer of all of these that are here. And it came back in 9.5 because the back is off-centered compared to the front, only ever so slightly. Otherwise, this would have been total perfection. And again, I went into this knowing X-fractors are notoriously difficult to gem. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, again, like I said, forgive me for the rant. It's just, it gets me frustrated when I see my fellow content creators out there who don't care about the hobby. They care more about lining their pockets. You know, I'm a collector first, seller next. I love the cards. Of course, I love the grades, especially when they come out to be like this, but show a little bit more love for the cards. You know, and for these guys that are complaining that they're not getting perfect 10s, maybe the problem is you. Take the expectation out of it, and you'll get results like this. I couldn't be any more pleased. But again, I want to see as an experiment with that second loose one that I bought when it arrives. I'm going to immediately submit it to SGC and see what happens. And then we'll talk about it. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications. I am your host, the Carolina Collector. Don't forget, check out my eBay store. The link is in the description box below. And again, I will most likely list these three for resale for anybody that's interested in them. These I'm keeping, and I want to see what my buddy says if he wants to buy these off of me or not, because he wanted to buy into those mega box breaks. we'll see how it goes. So with that being said, I definitely need a little something to drink. It's almost 70 degrees in my area. Man, it's been like a sine curve as far as the temperature is concerned. I cannot wait for spring to come. The winter sucks, and I'm not a winter guy anymore. I'm getting too old for the cold. Anyway, I will see you all very soon. Take care, everybody.